Welcome to Stuck, Time to Improv. I'm Mary Scott with Business Riff, and I want startups to be wildly successful. Did you know that there are developmental stages to a startup? I didn't, and I'm looking forward to hearing what they are. And our special guest today is Chukwudum Chukwudebelu from the ChumEffect. Thanks for coming, Chumze.
Thank you, Mary. That's pretty cool. That's amazing. It's a pleasure to be on your show. It's a pleasure to have this
So,
discussion.
how did you come up with the concept of developmental stages for startups?
Okay, so I would say this happened after my first business failed, right? I'm in college, I'm flipping college textbooks. So I buy a book for $10, go back to the bookstore, sell it for like 200 bucks. I'm making like 2 grand every 2 weeks. It depends. So I'm young, I'm making money. So after graduation, I said, okay, I want to scale this business. I'm thinking I want to be the next Amazon, Jeff Bezos, all of that. So I invest most of those resources. I don't go into corporate America. I said I'm focusing on this. And then I tried to launch it and build an app prematurely to scale. I'm trying to launch in multiple schools, right? All kinds of business plans, everything. And I had the biggest shock of my life. I was like, whoa, it didn't work out, right? So I started asking myself, I spent time trying to blame maybe who I outsourced the project to, whether it was like maybe the Indians, the East Africans, um, Eastern Europeans. It just depends. Maybe it was the outsourcing, but it wasn't even that. It was or who I got to build it. It was my fault. You see, I was impatient with the decisions I made. So after introspectively self-reflecting, I realized, wait a second, businesses are like babies. I tried to manage a baby business like an adult. And one day I see my friend, he's with his kid, and his kid scatters everything across the table. And he's not reactive because that's a child. So he understands as a child. So he was patient with his baby. But if it was an adult that did that, our responses will be different. So then I was like, okay, he's managing him like a baby. So why do we try to manage a baby business like an adult? So that's when that framework came about. After that, I started my consulting firm. Then I ended up trademarking the BAB framework. Business is a baby. So you're in developmental stages. Your business at a baby, toddler, teenager, adult. So anytime I want to consult for companies or clients, it makes it easy for me to present their solution based on what stage they're in. So it helps you manage your expectations. So you have to look at a business through the life cycles and the life stages of the lenses of where you're at. So that way you temper your expectations with reality. And if you look closely, even big corporations have a lot of failed baby startups. See, like, yeah, they invest millions and billions and they fail. So it's not about money. There's a part of my book where I put funding on money gives you superhuman stupidity because you don't move based on what you need. You move based on what you think you need based on what you have.
So, let's talk about a baby business
A
because
baby.
for most entrepreneurs, their business is their baby.
Yes.
So, to treat it appropriately, and one of the things I learned as a mother was that you got to
Yes.
really understand who your baby is and
Yes.
what their particular needs are and their particular style of integrating themselves into the world. So, talk about that a little bit.
The newborn is trying to eat, sleep. They're not trying to do that much, right? You're just focused on basic fundamental things. So when a business is a baby, now we're talking about babies, not toddlers. The goal is survival. But what usually happens is that the parent is supposed to look after the baby, not the baby looking after the parent. So now when you don't manage those expectations when you're first starting off, I want to go big. You get mad when you have one sale.
Yeah.
You're feeling bad.
Well,
Oh, it's not gonna.
you have to be
Yes,
prepared to feed it.
yes,
You
it's a
have to
baby.
be prepared to take care of it when things go wrong.
Yes,
You have to have support. You've got
yes,
to have all those people around you
yes,
with skills you don't have
yes,
to help you do all this.
yes,
I mean, there are plenty of parents who will tell you that without grandma, they would not have done it well. And that's where it's good to have a mentor, right?
yes. And those are support systems. For example, you see this Hollywood fallacy. different people have different circumstances. The way I wrote the book is written in a way that applies to you. Some people are still working their 9 to 5 job while they're building their startup. That's your own different case. My own peculiar situation was I lost all my money in my first business. So when I moved to Austin, the support I got was from my older brother. I was in his house, in his house in the apartment, rent free for 2 years. Then that support was what I was able to use to rebuild the consulting firm, the ChumEffect. So, what is your own version of support? Are you working your 9 to 5? Are you a trust fund baby? Do you have to save up resources? Is it your spouse? So sometimes it's your spouse. Sometimes, you have a situation whereby the spouse says, okay, you work, I work. You focus on your business while as a baby. I'll pay all the bills and all of that while you're growing this. So you have, and like you said, the grandma, your mom, that kind of thing. So people misalign or mistake those things, and they see these movies on TV. Oh, they left, they quit their job, and all of a sudden, no, that's not really the case. If you look deeper, these people you see today, they had some form of support. They had some kind of backing.
And you
Um,
can find
yes,
resources for free. I
yes,
mean, there are
yes,
great financial mentors
yes,
at organizations like
yes,
SCORE. There
yes,
are all kinds of other things that are available.
yes,
And if you are working a 9 to 5, you still have to allocate time for your
yes,
new business,
for your baby.
for your baby, yeah, until it grows enough that
Yes.
there's something else. And sometimes your support is you, your developer, and possibly a virtual assistant.
Right? What you're doing in baby phase, right, is understanding the psychology behind who your customers are. Why are they paying for your service or product? Why are they not paying for your service or product? You need to understand that to the depth. Then it grows in such a way that it can pay for your fundamental expense. Then you're in a position when you become a toddler, you want to hire your first babysitter, your first employee. Now, that phase is the most crucial phase, your first hire. It can either make or break your business. Now, when the business is a toddler, that's really when the real business starts. That's really when you should start writing a plan because now you have a foundation of which you can build on. That's really when you start creating the blueprints for the business systems. So during that phase and during that period, that's really when all of those things start, and then you can now move forward. Now, when your business is a teenager, they have a lot of companies globally and everywhere. They make millions, but they lack operational structure. So they can't really expand really quick if they want to without losing some kind of turnover. They don't know how to control their bottom line. They're like real life teenagers. They want to dye their hair. They want to do this, and they try to launch new products that don't add to their
That's
revenue.
a big one,
Yeah,
going off on
teenagers.
tangents,
Yes,
expanding in more
teenagers.
directions
Yes,
before you've actually
yes.
gotten a
Become an
solid
adult.
foundation in
Yes,
one.
yes. So it's not at that point, business is a baby framework. It's not about you have money flowing in your company. It's about structure and system. When you're an adult, you can have $1 million business and there's an adult, and you can have $100 million business as a teenager. You know the difference? The adult $1 million business can leave, the owner can leave and put slot someone else in and they can do the same thing. Or they can replicate the same model in another place instantly with the same impact, with the same. That is the whole point of the BAB framework. Now, teenager companies are the most annoying to deal with because they're making a lot of money.
They're
So,
challenging, but
yes,
they are
yes,
very exciting. Yeah.
yes, yes, yes. Then adult companies are, to me, are the easiest to consult for because they already have a system in place. So it's just plug and play.
Well, this has been fascinating. I love the analogy. I love all the mix and match stuff and how it really makes it real about how a business grows and how your approach to that business growing is going to be fundamental in its success or failure.
Yes.
Thanks so much for coming, Chumsy. We'll put contact information for you and how people can get your book in the comments. And thanks again for coming. And I'm Mary Scott with Business Riff. I want startups to be wildly successful. And one of the best things you can do to accomplish that is book a call with me at businessriff.com. And join us again next time for Stuck, Time to Improv.